And welcome back to the Jason Show Home Edition. Our next guest is a friend of ours. He's a friend of mine. And when the killing of George Floyd happened and the uprising in the Twin Cities happened, he was one of the first voices that I knew I wanted to reach out to. Please welcome Chef and our dear friend, Justin Sutherland. Good morning, Justin.
Morning, Jason. So good to see you, brother.
It is good to see you. And I thought about, I even feel, it feels weird, doesn't it, man? I mean, we got the pandemic, we had this, it even feels odd asking people, how are you? But I am going to ask that because I always like to say this, you and I are real friends, not TV friends. How are you doing?
Obviously loaded question. You know, good days and bad days. I mean, personally, I'm doing okay, but I'm definitely hurting for a lot of things that are happening right now.
What do you think, Justin? What's been, as you said, I've been calling this layers of anguish and layers of sadness and layer of fear. What has been? I've seen you out. I've seen you marching. What has been a prevailing thought in your mind that you want to share? Because I think you're just such a great voice. You know, for us, for our community, for the entire Twin Cities community. People know you on this show. What's been something that keeps running through your mind that you want to share?
I mean, I think that's twofold. I mean, that this has to stop. This can't happen anymore. We are sick and tired of. We're sick of it, and I mean, I think it's more prevalent now than ever. So I mean, that's always pumping through my veins. But also, you know, of course they want to show the violence and looting and whatnot, but my pride for Minnesota and our community. And I mean, these have been some of the most peaceful things I've ever been a part of. The next day cleanup efforts, the food that's being donated, the people that are out there taking care of and protecting our city. So, I mean, I march with sadness, I march with purpose, and I also march with a lot of pride.
We're obviously going to have you back on to talk about, you have so much going on. There's another time for that. But I do want to talk about, because you just touched on it there. I went down to South Minneapolis I went down to Lake Street on Saturday, and I too was just, I almost felt like I should go because there were thousands of people there, Justin, thousands of every color, every background. And I thought to myself, you know what I thought? And you're younger than I am, but I thought this generation under me, they're going to make a difference. The difference isn't going to start with politicians and nothing again. I'm not, this isn't political, but don't you feel that, Justin? I feel this generation, the Gen Yers, the millennials, they get it in a way that like the older generations don't get it.
That even I haven't. I mean, you know, we've seen this story play out, unfortunately, so many times and always the same results. But I mean, I think even the governor said, I think everybody should go down and see that space, feel that energy. It's palpable. You can feel it. You can feel the sadness in the air, but also you can feel, I mean, you can, it's joy mixed with sadness, mixed with this just intense desire for change. And I've never felt, you know, such an intense experience being on a corner in Minneapolis. So yes, I completely agree with you.
I mentioned all your ventures a few minutes ago, and I was going to say something, I got off track, but I mentioned what you do because I have been personally, because I know so many people in the restaurant industry like yourself. Haven't you been moved, Justin? Because and there's so many industries to thank and to give a hug to. Well, when we can't hug people, but anyway. But haven't you been moved, Justin, with the restaurant industry, even in the throes of COVID, when the restaurant industry is suffering so bad? The restaurant industry is coming out and helping people, helping the community, helping neighborhoods. I have been so moved by that.
And I think that just speaks to the people in our industry, the passion that we have. I mean, you're right. I mean, day one of COVID, restaurants were the most adversely affected. I mean, we were shut down immediately. We didn't know how we were going to pay our bills. But everybody that I know, the first thing we did is pulling our perishables out of the coolers, opening up community kitchens, feeding the neighborhood, you know, making sure people get through this, because that's what we do. And I think that's what people need to understand about the restaurant industry. You know, we're givers, we're feeders, we're carers. This is our love language, and we don't know how to do anything else, whether there's, you know, financial gain or not.
Before I have one more question on the restaurant industry, how are you doing? Because I mean, we can tackle two tough topics, like I mentioned, COVID. How are your businesses doing? Do you see a light at the end of the tunnel? How's it going in that arena?
There's a light. It's dim and ever changing. Obviously, I mean, I'm gonna go from 9 or 11 or however many restaurants there was before. I mean, definitely slimmed down. A lot of them will not be reopening currently, but I'm also got a lot of hope and excitement. I mean, we're moving Handsome Hog up to the hill. We just built a new 120 seat patio up on Cathedral Hill. Handsome Hog has always been the place that's been on this long wait, and now we're gonna have 300 seats so we can socially distance. So, I'm happy about those things that are coming. We'll get the rooftop at Oxcart going. We just, Brian Ingram and I are about to rebirth the Happy Gnome, which I'm very, very excited about. So there are definitely good things on the horizon, but like you said, in the minds of the restaurant industry people, those aren't even the things we're worried about right now. We're worried about how we continue to feed our communities.
I want to end on a message of hope before you go, my friend, because I know that you're just an optimistic guy. When we see each other at Rosedale, are you hopeful? Do you have, as you said, this has been going on for decades. This has been brutality against African Americans has been going on for so long. Do you see a glimmer of hope? Do you see a sea change?
Again, loaded.
Yeah.
I would say that, and I'm not, I've lived through my things. I marched for Philando and all these other things. I wasn't there for the civil rights movement, but this is, from what I've seen, one of the largest and greatest coming together I've ever seen when these situation happens. And it's unfortunate that it had to happen. It's unfortunate that it had to happen in our city that we love. But at the same time, I think if anybody can put this together, I think it's Minnesotans, and the world is watching us, and it's up to us to really, because I do believe that this can't happen again. If this happens again, I think it's going to be much worse, and many more things will burn. So I hope that doesn't happen. I see the hope in people's eyes. I see the community coming together. I see the reaction from our government. I hope they take swift action. So I'm on the fence. I'm more hopeful than I've ever been, but I'm still skeptical because this system has continuously failed us. So
absolutely. Well, I appreciate you. I thank you for doing this, and I know you're busy, and it just means a lot to me. And I love the fact I feel very lucky having this platform, and I appreciate your voice on it. So thank you, my friend. I love you.
Thank you, Jason, man. I love you too. I cannot wait to give you that hug because they're so good. And send some biscuits too.
I will do so. Justin Sutherland, everyone. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after.
Thanks,
words.